Hey, 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 welcome back to the channel. And if you thought 2026 was going to be just another ordinary year, you are dead wrong. Because at the very start of this year, the world was shaken by a moment that, honestly, nobody expected to be this massive. BTS is back. Their fifth album, REIGNS, has finally dropped. And out of 7 members who reunited after nearly 4 years of mandatory military service, one name immediately exploded across every social media platform in the United States. That name, Jimin. Not just trending, not just viral, but sitting at number 1 and number 2 simultaneously on X, formerly Twitter, in the United States, with vocalist Park Jimin and Jimin both dominating the real-time trending charts at the same exact moment. How did this happen? And why is it Jimin specifically who became the biggest talking point of the most anticipated comeback in years? Sit back and get comfortable, because today we are breaking down everything you need to know, from the historic stage at Gwangwoman, to the record-shattering REIGNS album, to why the world simply cannot stop talking about one man named Park Jimin. Let's start from the beginning. On March 20th, 2026, Big Hit Music released BTS's 5th studio album titled REIGNS, a name taken from a traditional Korean folk song widely regarded as the country's unofficial national anthem. But this was no ordinary album. It was produced alongside a world-class roster of international musicians including Diplo, Ryan Tedder, Kevin Parker of Tame Impala, J Mafia, and Mike Will made it, making it one of the most ambitious musical collaborations in K-pop history. REIGNS was a loud declaration to the world. We are back, and we are bigger than ever. The very next day, on March 21st, 2026, BTS took the stage at Gwangwoman Square in Seoul, a historic public space in front of Gyeongbokgung Palace that has stood for over 600 years. Only 22,000 fans who received the coveted golden ticket were allowed inside the venue itself, but the surrounding streets drew an estimated 260,000 people, making it the single largest public concert in South Korean history. And this concert was not just streamed online. It was broadcast live on Netflix. This marked the first time BTS performed together as a group in nearly 4 years, following the completion of their mandatory military service. The entire world was watching, and the entire world had an opinion. Now, the choice of venue was absolutely not random. Gwangwoman Square is a historic landmark built more than 600 years ago, and this was the first ever standalone concert staged there. The square is home to statues of 2 of South Korea's most respected historical figures. King Sejong, who created the Korean Hangul script in 1443, and Admiral Yi Sun-shin, who led critical battles during the 16th century Japanese invasions. The symbolism was layered and intentional. BTS standing on that ground was not just a musical performance. It was a cultural statement about who they are and where they come from. This was not just a comeback concert. This was a declaration of identity. Now let's get into the heart of what this video is really about. Among the 7 BTS members who performed that night, one person's stage presence stopped everyone in their tracks, longtime ARMY and first-time viewers alike. That person was Park Jimin. That night, Jimin wore long blonde hair and a black tweed jacket, paired with wide trousers reminiscent of traditional Korean hanbok, a unique style where tradition and modernity coexist in perfect harmony. And the moment the music started, he owned the entire stage. He created a performance like a piece of art in a mysterious atmosphere, immediately pulling the audience in with a flawless live vocal on the title track, Swim, delivering with a gentle yet unmistakably powerful voice. On the track, Alien, he performed with a bouncy rhythm and deeply delicate emotional expression, a live performance that genuinely surpassed the studio recording. Think about that for a second. You have heard someone sing in a studio setting, and you think it sounds incredible. Then you hear them perform live in front of you, and it is somehow better than the recording. That is exactly what happened with Jimin that night. Throughout the entire hour-long performance, Jimin performed with full intensity without a single break, yet his live vocals remained completely unshaken for every moment. The very definition of a stage ruler. And it was not just the Korean press taking notice. In BTS's performance on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, the choreography was described as deeply emotional, and Jimin was specifically recognized for his extraordinary ability to connect with audiences on a deeply personal level during live performances. Remember, This is a man who had not stood on a stage for nearly 4 years. But the moment he came back, it felt like he had never left. Now let's talk numbers. Because if you want to truly understand the scale of the Jimin phenomenon, you need to see the data. Immediately after the Gwangwoman performance, social media reactions exploded worldwide. In the United States, vocalist Park Jimin and Jimin ranked first and second in X's real-time trending charts. In South Korea, the hashtag Jimin_thank you for the wonderful stage topped the trending list. At the global level, Jimin's ranked second only to BTS in worldwide trends, proving Jimin's overwhelming power to generate buzz on a planetary scale. But here is the thing, this is not the first time Jimin has done this. On his 30th birthday on October 13th, 2025, Jimin broke social media records for the 6th consecutive year. He became the first person ever to occupy 23 or more related keywords and hashtags simultaneously on X's worldwide trends for 6 straight years. Hashtags including hashtag Happy Jimin Day and Happy Birthday Jimin dominated global trends, with the keyword Jimin surpassing 1 million mentions. 6 consecutive years. Not once, not twice. 6 years in a row. No other artist in the world, K-pop or otherwise, holds that record. Let that sink in. And when it comes to the REIGNS album itself, all 14 tracks from REIGNS filled the top 14 spots of Spotify's global top 50 chart on its first day of release. The album received a total of 110 million streams on the platform, making it the album with the most first-day Spotify streams of any 2026 release so far. 110 million streams. In a single day? That is not a number, that is a statement. An analyst from Seoul-based investment bank IBK estimates the BTS comeback will generate at least 2.9 trillion Korean won, approximately $1.93 billion, a figure that could potentially rival the $2 billion earned by Taylor Swift's Eras tour. So when people say this is the biggest comeback of the decade, that is not hyperbole. That is a fact backed up by data that is impossible to argue with. Now let's talk about the album itself, because without a strong body of work behind it, no amount of trending means anything lasting. REIGNS contains 14 tracks. The album opens with Body to Body, which samples the traditional Korean folk song of the same name. Hooligan features a chopped-up string arrangement alongside clashing sword sounds and soaring vocals from V and Jimin. FY incorporates elements of pop rap and Jersey club. Number 29 is a field recording of the bell of King Songdeok, the 29th national treasure of Korea. Notice what is happening here. This is not an album trying to sound like Western pop music to gain acceptance. This is an album that proudly celebrates Korean identity while simultaneously collaborating with some of the biggest producers on the planet. Academics and commentators studying Korean soft power have noted that REIGNS and its surrounding cultural moment, the Hanbok fashion wave, the Gwangwoman concert, the Netflix documentary, represent a maturation of K-pop's global influence. Where early K-pop crossover success often required a degree of cultural camouflage, the BTS 2026 comeback demonstrates that Korean cultural specificity is now a commercial asset rather than a barrier. This is what makes REIGNS different from almost everything else released this year. And Jimin's role in the album? He serves as lead vocalist on some of the most prominent tracks, including Swim, Body to Body, Hooligan, Aliens, FYA, and 2.0. So when you listen to REIGNS and find yourself moved by the vocals, there is a very good chance that is Jimin's voice you are hearing. The critics agree. According to the review aggregator Metacritic, REIGNS received universal acclaim based on a weighted average score of 83 out of 100. NPR described it as a triumphant homecoming, while the New York Times awarded it a Critics' Pick label. And perhaps the most powerful moment of the entire night came not from the music, but from the words Jimin spoke to the crowd. He told the audience, "We are finally here and seeing you again. The fact that I am speaking here, I am so moved. All 7 of us standing on stage together makes me so happy. From the biggest stage in Korea to millions of viewers around the world." After nearly 4 years of silence, those words carried a weight that is very hard to put into words. To truly appreciate this moment, we need to take a step back and look at where Park Jimin came from. Park Jimin, born October 13th, 1995, is a South Korean singer, songwriter, and dancer who debuted as a member of BTS in 2013 under Big Hit Entertainment. A young boy from Busan, a port city on Korea's southern coast, who dreamed of becoming a professional dancer. And now, more than a decade later, he stands in the most historically significant public square in Seoul, with 260,000 people watching him in person and millions more watching from around the world. But his journey was never easy. As BTS's main vocalist and main dancer, Jimin has always carried the weight of enormous expectations. Every performance, every album, every public moment, all judged against the very highest standard. And he consistently met that standard and then exceeded it. Then came mandatory military service. Nearly 4 years without a stage, without concerts, without seeing ARMY in person. But it was in that period of quiet that something interesting happened. On November 1st, 2025, Jimin told fans that the REIGNS album was finished and ready for release. He was the first member to announce this, and for ARMY, that was a signal. Jimin was ready to come back. And he came back at full power. Throughout all of this, Jimin never stopped giving back to his community. He has repeatedly donated 100 million won to educational institutions across Korea, supporting underprivileged students, scholarship programs, and book initiatives. Behind the image of a global superstar, there is a man who has never forgotten where he came from. Now, a question that often comes up from people who are newer to Jimin's story. What exactly is it that makes him so different from other artists at his level? First, it is his vocal technique. Jimin is known for his ability to move seamlessly between different registers, from a soft, ethereal falsetto to emotionally charged belting that stops you mid-breath. He seems to change his voice with each song, making every single performance feel like something entirely new and distinct. That kind of range is not something you develop overnight. It is the result of years of relentless, disciplined training. Second, it is his emotional connection. There is something about the way Jimin performs that makes the audience feel as though he is speaking directly to them, not just singing words, but genuinely feeling every single note. He has an incredible ability to connect deeply with fans during live performances. Third, it is his completeness as a performer. Where most singers in high-energy settings have to choose between delivering vocally or delivering physically in any given intense moment, Jimin does both simultaneously without compromise. Throughout the entire hour-long show at Gwangwamun, he performed at full intensity without rest, yet his voice never wavered for even a single moment. And fourth, and this is perhaps the most important factor of all, it is his authenticity. In a world of K-pop that is sometimes criticized for being overly polished and manufactured, Jimin consistently comes across as genuinely, deeply human. His emotion on stage does not feel like theater. His gratitude toward ARMY does not feel scripted. It feels real, and the world responds to real. So what comes next? BTS performed at Pier 17 in New York for the Spotify x BTS Swimside event, and at the Guggenheim Museum for The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon, performing Swim and 2.0. These are just the opening moves of what is shaping up to be one of the most significant global tours in music history. The REIGNS World Tour spans 85 dates across 34 cities, kicking off on April 9th, 2026 in Goyang, South Korea, and set to conclude on March 14th, 2027 in Manila, Philippines. If you do not have tickets yet, you already know what you need to do. And for Jimin specifically, this man who already proved himself as the most successful Korean solo artist in Billboard history, whose birthday consistently breaks global trending records year after year, whose Gwangwamun performance had the entire United States talking, we have not seen his ceiling yet. He is 30 years old. He just completed his military service. He just returned to the stage. And the world is already trending his name. So that is the full story. Not just about a concert. Not just about an album. Not just about a trending topic. This is about a man from Busan who, night after night, year after year, for more than a decade, has proven to the world that art that comes from a genuine place. Art that celebrates who you are, that does not hide behind trends, that shows up with its whole heart, is art that will always find its way into the hearts of millions of people around the world. Jimin did not get left behind. Jimin did not wait for his turn. Jimin did not try to be something he was not. He simply showed up, and the world could not stop talking about him. If this is your first time on this channel and you enjoyed this kind of content, K-pop deep dives, Korean culture, and the stories behind the headlines that go viral, hit subscribe right now and turn on notifications. We are going to keep covering every development from the REIGNS World Tour and everything happening in the world of K-pop. And to everyone who has been here from the beginning, thank you. Without you, none of this means anything. See you in the next one. Do not get left behind. Waving and fire.